Hi guys, welcome back to the Heel Podcast. This week we have been reviewing Extreme Rules and catching up on wrestling throughout the week. So last night we actually were live streaming over on our Twitch channel our reactions. So if you want to watch our reactions from the show, you can actually go and watch it as a past broadcast. It'll be in the comments, not in the comments, in the description. We will also, throughout this video, be running a competition. So to be in with a chance of winning a £20 surprise mystery box from WrestleBox.co.uk, you have to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like the video, and comment a word that I will be saying throughout the video, and you've got to post it in the comments. So, guys, where should we start? Should we start with what we've missed since Backlash?
Seems like a sensible point.
Would you like to lead away, Link? As you are our expert wrestling something.
So,
I was going to say nerd, but that's not the right word.
Okay. Should we? Wow. I got called a nerd.
Nerd.
Should we start with the ongoing stuff with Jeff Hardy?
Yeah.
So obviously it began, I think, just before Backlash. In fact, it was just before Backlash. He was taken out of the whole picture with the IC title.
Yeah.
And he got put back into it, or he got taken out, but then it became the whole thing with Sheamus basically causing his. I don't know what happened there, to be honest with you, but it was somehow Sheamus' fault that he had a crash or didn't have a crash but had a crash. And it's very strange.
Addiction thing, wasn't it?
Yes.
Touched upon that last time. It was a bit
suspect, isn't it?
But I said at the time then as well, and I stand by it now, is that people don't wait for long-term booking. They just jump on it like, oh, this is the worst thing ever. And it's actually turning into probably one of the most interesting things on SmackDown at the moment.
Okay.
Obviously, some great matches happening on SmackDown as well, but it's probably the most interesting storyline on SmackDown at the moment, with the exception of Bray and Braun. But we'll get to that, I'm sure.
We'll touch to that because, I was going to say the whole thing with Sheamus and Jeff is it's not that it's not long-term booking. It's just a bit tasteless, isn't it? But then, having looked at some of what happened last night on Extreme Rules, so was that. let's be really honest.
It's weird. It's weird.
Where do you think the Sheamus Jeff thing's gonna end up?
Well, they've got a barroom brawl on Friday SmackDown.
It's going to be a cinematic match, isn't it?
I don't know if it's going to be cinematic or it's just literally they're going to go into a bar somewhere and smash it up or what. But
how many swantons do you think we're going to see?
They've had bar brawls past that have been great. So
yeah, I'm wondering how long till the first swanton off a bar.
Yeah, that'd be interesting.
Happen.
We'll definitely be seeing one of them, I think. So, I could see eventually them two having a sort of feud, and could we see potentially one of them retiring from it this early? Because Sheamus was obviously, there was rumours for it for months and months, wasn't there?
I don't see it coming yet, to be honest with you. If it does, then I will be surprised.
I think just for them both coming back, and then there's been a build up for them both coming back, and for them one of them to go already, it's going to be far too soon. I think maybe from Mania, after Mania, maybe, but yeah, it's too early, I think.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I just thought it was obviously in the talks because obviously there was always talks of it, already talks of it with Sheamus. So talking about SmackDown matches, we had Matt Riddle versus AJ Styles. Was that not? That was Friday, wasn't it? I don't know what day of the week we're on.
Friday just gone for the IC title. Phenomenal match. Yeah. Excuse the obvious pun. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Riddle has outshone everybody since he came up. I like the fact that they seem to be not teaming, but sort of kind of allying him slightly with the Daniel Bryan, Drew Gulak thing that's been going on. I think that could be, it's not a stable, but if they did kind of make that more of a stable, that could be pretty much untouchable because they are three of the best wrestlers in the business right now.
That would be nuts.
I think the only thing that worries me, they've had Riddle and AJ Styles, they seem to have brought out the best in each other. And I just don't want it to be that too early because I look around at other people I think who could Riddle wrestle. And there's a few names out there, but I'm just wondering, is this going to be the best we see for a while now? And I just hope it isn't. But they seem to have brought out the best in each other so far. This is the best I've seen Riddle wrestle. I've liked Riddle, but this is by far the best I've seen him. And AJ as well for a long time.
Someone a bit smaller with Riddle. I think most of the time when he wrestles dudes, he goes for the bigger dudes or bros.
That was cringe.
Yeah,
but he went for someone a bit smaller with AJ, and AJ can throw himself around a lot more, which is why he's making Riddle look so good. Throw around big dudes, don't get me wrong, but it just looks more when it's a smaller dude because it's easier to do, I guess.
I hope we get to see more of it. I hope this, like I said, it's just not the best of what we're going to see. I hope there's more to come.
No, I agree.
Yeah, that'd be good. Anything else in particular that's been a standout for you recently on Raw, SmackDown, or even NXT, I guess? Apart from anything, well, mainly anything not in the build-up. So we've had Orton, Edge carrying on. That wasn't in any of the pay-per-view last night, but Big Show is facing Orton tonight. So we're filming this on Monday. Night. So he's fighting Big Show tonight. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah, it's going to be Orton. Orton carrying on. Orton's going to get his push. He's going to carry on with this. I've said in the last couple of videos we've done, I think he's going to be getting a title shot soon. And they're just going to keep on pushing him for now. That's what I really think. And they're going to keep on pushing him, give him his title shot against Drew soon. I think.
Yeah, you said last night.
Orton. Yeah, that's my pick for SummerSlam already.
But then, is Edge? What's happening with Edge?
Edge is
yeah, okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so I think this is what they would have carried on. I personally think they would have carried on the Orton Edge. But now they've had to sideline that for a while, and that's why they give Orton this push, keep his momentum going till then, till Edge returns.
Yeah. So I think that sort of covers us with WWE for a little bit. Link or P, I don't know which one of you actually watches.
No.
What have we missed?
Keith Lee, double title. How the hell did you forget about that?
Yes, well remembered. We would have been slaughtered for that, but phenomenal. I'm really happy for it.
Both nights of that Great American Bash that they did with their thing were both great.
Yeah.
The second night kicked off with that phenomenal women's match. I can't remember if it was a last man standing or just like an Extreme Rules style match, but
the bumps that were taken in that were absolutely crazy.
Yeah,
even those blokes would have been taking those bumps would have been scary. Like it's the women's wrestling that we was talking last night on the review, like the live show. We were saying about some of the women's wrestlers, tag teams and such, and you've just made me think, Links, the women's division in NXT. I personally think is absolutely amazing at the minute. Some of those could come up and really make a few people look.
Bearing in mind they've already taken out a few strong ones already as well from that. It's plenty going.
Bianca Belair, Shayna Baszler.
The women there were getting overlooked, and now they're starting to prove what they can do now that some of the bigger names are gone.
Doing that for years. I think this should be like a key point for this whole podcast is that obviously it's been 5 years since the Women's Evolution pay-per-view last week. I think it's fair to say that in WWE on the what people call the main roster, because they obviously are now all on mainstream TV. So it's not like moving up, it's moving across and all that, whatever. I think it's fair to say that NXT are still putting on better women's matches. It's not because they have a better women's roster, because the women's roster that are currently on Raw and SmackDown were on NXT putting on the better matches.
Yeah.
So there's something in that sort of mainstream mindset of Raw and SmackDown that just doesn't click when it comes to the women's wrestling. And I'm not going to say, oh, it's Vince's fault, because that's what everyone does, and it's just not.
Yeah.
Granted, he has the final say on what happens, but there's more to it than that. There's so much more to it than that.
Yeah, we was talking about
whether it's storyline or whatever, because obviously with NXT they don't actually use storylines; they pretty much build organically. Yeah. And although there is a slight storyline, it's not like a soap opera like it is on the main shows.
We were saying last night, and you've hit the nail on the head, because we were saying last night with some of the women's matches, we was a bit disappointed with bits and pieces. But you think, a couple of years ago, we were saying exactly the same thing we are now about NXT girls, about those.
Yeah.
And about the Baileys, the Sashas, we're saying how out of putting them 5-star matches. And it's true. You hit the nail on the head. I didn't really thought
Asuka, I know a lot of people love Asuka and they hate the main roster run because she's been squashed and blah, blah. But the thing is, with Asuka, it's the same as every other woman that's gone up. They've all put on great matches lower down. As soon as they've gone up to that level, they've just been like, meh.
Yeah. But it's like Bailey and Sasha were involved in some amazing matches, and
some of the best.
I think Bailey Sasha match at the minute.
I think Bailey Sasha in their women's whatever match it was before the Iron Woman match. I wasn't a fan of the Iron Woman match, and I know that's controversial. I'm sorry. Please tell me off in the comments. But the one before that was one of my top 10 matches of all time. I think it was absolutely fantastic. And I'm not a Banks fan.
Yeah,
but that match was so good. They told the story so well. That is in my top 10.
Yeah, I was just sitting there thinking, I'm trying to rack my brains a bit. The one person I can think that has obviously done better for themselves since coming up, Becky, and she kind of took that gimmick and run with it herself, didn't she? And I'm trying to think, Charlotte's massive, but Charlotte was a big, big name in NXT. The only name I could think of was a biggish name was Becky, and she come up to the main roster. Yeah, like I said, done her own gimmick, run with it, and she went massive. But everyone else, it seems that they've dropped off a little bit, maybe bar Charlotte. Everyone else just drops off that little bit. And it's a bit crazy when you think of it. Well, I think.
Yeah. Sorry, I know completely sidetracked as all just.
So my question when we were on Keith Lee, obviously super happy for Keith Lee. I think all three of us are huge fans of him. I love that he's got both for now. Obviously, I don't think that'll last very long.
I think last time, to be honest with you.
But nor it should do, to be fair. Where do we see Adam Cole and the Undisputed Era going from here? Are they staying? Are they moving up?
I don't think anyone knows. I'd like to see him do it, but then again, I don't want to see him get kind of lost a bit, because I like NXT how it is, and it's brilliant to see people come up. But look at Finn. Everyone wanted Finn to come up, and it just never really works. And I just get a bit worried for some of the big names that come up now.
In fairness, Finn's probably a bad example because he came up straight into a world title match. So.
And got injured and then lost it. I think if he kept the title and they'd kept it on him, I think he would be rocketed still at the top right now. Because they obviously trust him, because they then brought it back down to help out the NXT as well.
Yeah,
I think that's a lot of the trust. Yeah. It wasn't like he got demoted, was it? It was like, no, come and help take NXT from the below to putting them alongside the other two.
And it did work, yeah. I just think they had something special to NXT. Undisputed Era had something special there. And could they be replaced just as easy at the minute? I don't know.
I'm sorry.
I like to see them on the main roster. I just worry that they'll get a bit. They'd be beneficial for us, for them, and everyone else seeing them on NXT for a bit longer still. maybe.
Yeah. There's your budgets.
Started on cue.
I'm really sorry.
Shall we move on to AEW? Let's talk AEW. I have no idea on AEW. I don't know. I've watched it since the second week it was out, but I just never bothered.
I tried
I
to.
know it's very good, but I just don't bother with it.
I tried to catch it. And I've tried. I really started getting into it, and then it just started to bore me a little bit, a bit more recently. I don't know if it's just because I've started getting into WWE a bit more with their storylines with people like Bray, which we'll talk about later. Impact, I've tried to catch up a bit more, and it's gone from AEW. I've watched basically every week down to if it's on, I'll catch it. It's just it started to bore me a little bit. I've tried to keep up with it a bit now. There's not really much. Taz being in there at the minute. Link, you watch it more, didn't you?
Right. So here's my thing with AEW. I don't dislike it. I actually quite enjoy it. I just don't have a lot to say about it. They're not doing anything bad per se. I mean, there's a few bits and bobs that aren't great, but for the most part, they're kind of coasting. It's not the most amazing thing I've ever seen. Like, don't get me wrong, they have good matches, they have good stories, they have good things going on, but it's just not got that
something about it. Yeah,
it's not got that snap to it for me yet, and it's not because of anybody on the roster or anything they're doing. It's just I just haven't had that connection with it, and that's what's making it hard for me at the moment. It's not. I think with WWE, because I've had so much passion for so long, it's very easy to talk about what's going on and what I'm enjoying, what I'm not enjoying, and and to analyze it. With AEW, because it's all still so new, and it is like it's only been around a year or so now.
Yeah.
It's very hard for me to be critical of it and be like, well, this was crap, because they're so new, they're still learning. You can't be like that with them. And equally, I don't want to be like, oh, this was amazing, it's so much better than blah blah blah, because why compare two brands when you can just enjoy all of them? And I do enjoy it. I do genuinely enjoy AEW. I think they're putting on a great product. I think the stuff with the Revival or the FTR that are over there now is good stuff. I'm not a Young Bucks fan, but I'm really looking forward to that match between the four. I think that'll be fantastic when it eventually happens. The one criticism I will give them now, and I mentioned it earlier to you guys when we were starting and looking through what we was going to talk about, is their inability to build monsters. So they brought across guys like Lance Archer, who's this massive, intimidating dude who's absolutely fantastic, who's known as a murder hawk, and I wish I had a hawk right now for these budgies. But he got squashed in his first big match. Not squashed, but he lost in his first big match, which is like, okay. What's the point? They brought Brody Lee across, and it's like, oh, Brody Lee, this big, intimidating dude could definitely make impacts in this company, and he lost in his first big match. So what do they do next? They bring across Brian Cage, this next really big dude. They give him a title that was in the ECW 20 years ago, the FTW belt. And then he loses in his first big match. I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
That's the thing. Like you said, it's become. I could sit down and look at a match, and there'll be some quality matches going on. But like you said, it's a little bit predictable at the minute. At the minute, it's a little bit predictable. Like you said, there's no massive storylines going on. I got really into it when Jericho, Moxley, the big rivalries like that, the big storylines.
Yeah, I enjoyed that.
Simmered down a little bit, and I'm like, I like the big storylines. That's what WWE used to do. That's what got me into that. I want to see like the extravagant storylines a bit.
Because I'm not necessarily following it every week, but back when they were starting, obviously I was still following the results religiously.
Yeah,
I wasn't necessarily watching it, but
it's just simmered. For me, it's just simmered a bit too much. It's just simmered down a bit, and it's. Like I said, I like the big extravagant storylines. I like the big run-ins, and I like everything a bit big. That's what I liked about wrestling, and it's just gone a bit quiet.
I like the AEW try to go for more of a sports presentation to it, aren't they? Which they've
agreed.
I like the craziness of wrestling.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Don't get me wrong on that. There is times that can go too far, which we
talk about, no doubt.
But I like the craziness. I loved like the end of towards the end of the Attitude Era when there was no matches that didn't end in a run-in. There was somebody came out and interfered in the matches, and there was some sort of shenanigans by the end of the match. And no match ever lasted more than 10 minutes because it was just utter madness. And the whole saying, anything can happen in the world wrestling entertainment, I guess now, but. And that line came out in that time because it literally felt like anything could happen because it was madness all the time.
Do we feel like they should be aiming, rather than being a sports entertainment brand, that they should actually be looking to be the biggest indie show, rather where it's a bit more raw, it's a bit more fresh than.
I think they already are that.
Yeah.
But I don't think they. I think they are, but I think they're trying to go for something else.
Which I think that's what they are.
But they go for something else, which is wrong, though, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean,
like you said, like, they are quite new, and hopefully they do settle down and find their feet a bit more. Maybe it's just they're trying to find their feet and trying to find out what they want to be. Yeah. And they're going to trial it. It's all about trial and error. You think, like we said, WWE, we've gone about. It's been around for years.
I will say, sorry, mate, I keep doing this.
Yeah, they obviously don't want to be exactly the same, but they want to try their own thing. And fair play. Hopefully, they find something that really, really works.
Yeah, I will say, I hope they stay off Twitter with this horrible ratings crap because
it's all bloody nonsense.
Yeah, nobody really cares. If you enjoy wrestling, you enjoy wrestling. If you want to watch one, you watch one. If you want to watch them both, even better, because I watch them both. They're great.
The whole ratings thing was done years ago, and there was the Monday Night Wars, and there's no point trying to bring that.
But that was before like solid internet. That was on TV stuff.
Yeah,
so it doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
So I think that sort of wraps us up with AEW. Shall we move on to Saturday night's entertainment with Slammiversary?
Cool.
What was our off the bat? What did we think of the show as a whole?
I thought it was pretty solid.
Yeah, I didn't mind it. I think it was just for there was a few pops that I had in there that I really enjoyed, and I think it's for them. Sometimes I thought it was a bit, but then I think there was times that I was really happy. So yeah. It wasn't too bad.
I think solid is sort of the top of what I would call it. It was sort of solid, maybe slightly below, but. Yeah, it was what it was. So, go on, mate.
They hyped it up really well. They did loads of promo work on it, and it made it super interesting to casual fans. And I admit I'm a casual fan of Impact. It's not TNA anymore; it's Impact, isn't it? So I must admit I'm a casual fan. I only watch it every now and again. It's not because they're bad; it's just because they've got that stigma of what they used to be. And how they've been, and it's hard to trust that company to do the right thing anymore. I think that's the problem with them, even so than it is with a company like WWE, who also regularly mess up.
I think my favorite bit.
I think they did a really good show. I think they delivered with most of it. They did. There was a few kind of like I mean, I don't know if you want to go through it match by match, but.
Not by match.
I'm gonna just go straight to the main event. My point was the fourth man So this big mystery fourth man, and then Rich Swann's music hits, and I literally just sat there and went,
The thing was, Rich Swann appeared earlier on the night, didn't he, on crutches?
yeah.
And he went out injured, and no one expected him to come in, and this was a big surprise return. And even I was like, "Oh, we're going to see who we're going to see." It was like,
all I'm saying,
okay.
thankfully from their level, they decided to actually add in a fifth man as well. Because Eric, he's not a big. He wouldn't be like a big name elsewhere in terms of how old he is now. But of course, he's essentially a returning legend for them.
Yeah.
So I'm absolutely fine with that being that fifth man. That absolutely makes sense. My actual issue with the main event was actually something slightly different. So the Good Brothers got mentioned. They were put up on Twitter. It was put up on Twitter that they will be appearing on Slammiversary. They did make no appearance in the show until the very end. So you knew exactly what was coming. They were coming out then. So there was no pop. Imagine if they didn't put out, they were appearing. Everyone still thought they were going to New Japan. And that was where they will be appearing first. No, they've come into the Slammiversary. What a pop that would have been if they'd actually just added in and not even just said about it, and they just appeared to help Eddie Edwards. And especially as they were all thought that he might attack, they might help, they might join in the assault. Because arguably, to be fair, they could probably both go for the main title if they chose to go that way and not keep them as a tag. Not sort of have them mixed up so they can do singles and tags. But yeah, that was my real gripe with the main event.
And the thing is, with that as well, they kind of hinted, they mentioned them, and everyone was like, "Oh, it's the Open Challenge." But they didn't even need to mention that because no one would have guessed who the Open Challenge was anyway, no matter what. Because there was no way they would.
To be fair, I was fully expecting Hawkins and Ryder.
To get Motor City Machine Guns coming out, that was a pop for me. I used to watch, when I watched Impact, it was those Christopher Daniels, AJ Styles. They're the people I watched. Big Money, and they're the people I watched, and see them come back. It was like, wow! No one would have expected that. Yeah. So that was a big highlight for me. Now, I think that might have been the highlight of the whole night for me.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah,
I was a little bit surprised to see them because I'm sure Alex Shelley was in NXT not that long ago.
I thought he was over there.
He never signed. He never signed. He was on a guest appearance thing.
A couple of time appearance.
Sorry.
Was it just like a one-off thing?
Yeah, he basically came in. He came in for that because it was for the tournament, wasn't it? Yeah. He came in. He came in and that was all it was for.
I've got to admit, now I would love to see Beer Money come back and people like that now. Storm and Robert Roode, getting Bobby Roode.
I mean, he's not the best in the world, but he definitely should have been in that picture and not in the picture he's currently in because
he's an Impact man, isn't he?
James Storm and Bobby Roode, they weren't amazing wrestlers, but having Beer Money together just made them. And
I mean, James Storm turned down NXT, didn't he? He came up and had a match and then was just like, yeah, no, I'm good.
No, I'd definitely take them back. I'd love them to see them back. Them and Motor City Machine Guns were just amazing watching TNA ground.
Fun fact for you: AJ Styles' entrance music. Shut up. AJ Styles' entrance music was originally meant for James Storm's.
Yes, I think we've discussed this one before. That is quite an interesting one. What did we think of the other introductions on Saturday night? So we had Heath.
Yeah, I was really happy with Heath.
I was really happy with Heath. Sorry?
Oh, yeah, Heath.
I really like Heath. Yeah, so much that Heath is actually going to be our code word for in the comments. So remember to subscribe, like, and put Heath in the comments. He will be our code word. Just Heath, not Heath Slater, not Heath Miller or whatever his real name is. Just Heath.
Heath.
I love the t-shirt as well. Free agent t-shirt.
Free agent, yeah. I'm gonna miss. He's got kids. I like Heath. He's looking absolutely jacked.
They said that in their little bit though, didn't they? They said Rhino turned around and said, "Oh, say hello to the kids for me."
Yeah,
that was quite a funny little throwback there.
Nice. Who else did they have? They had EC3 making a very, very brief him showing that he's back, sort of thing.
That spoiled it for me. I think that was the biggest letdown. I would have, instead of just having that little segment, either have him appear or just have him turn up on Tuesday night. Don't throw a little segment in. Like you said, it was a bit like Good Brothers. Why mention them? Why have that little segment? Have everyone just go have a bit of a pop for people.
Yeah.
They kind of sport it. I don't like things like that. Make him turn up or just have him run in this week.
In all fairness, they played EC3's music last week on Impact. Like you knew he was coming. It was never.
You just
so if it didn't have something, it'd just be like, well, what was the point?
Yeah, completely agree. And so I think that pretty much wraps up Slammiversary for us, doesn't it?
Yeah, it was a solid show. It wasn't the best. It wasn't the worst.
Yeah, I've seen much worse. Yeah,
I will go back to probably barely ever watching Impact again. That's where dude on that one. Sorry.
Right. So next up, guys, was actually straight on to Extreme Rules. The pay-per-view. Obviously, we watched it live, so this was good. I actually really enjoyed this watching it live with you guys.
Yeah.
On stream. So I think we'll do those when and as much as we can.
Yep.
So
I'm hearing every pay-per-view.
Sorry, mate.
I'm hearing every pay-per-view. It's being someone's telling me in my ear every pay-per-view we're going to go live.
I'll phone my mate Mr. Vince and see what he says.
You love a bit of a Vince phone call, don't you?
Yeah.
So starting in the pay-per-view, starting in the pre-show, we had Kevin Owens versus Buddy Murphy. I think we discussed this a little bit last night. How irritating is it to him to be on the pre-show again?
It's really bugging me. I wanted to have.
I noticed this morning he actually changed his Twitter to kick off Owens.
Oh my god! Yeah, I'm not even. I don't even. Yeah, not even surprised.
Well, I was thinking about this, and on the pre-show, okay, look, maybe they won't space for him. And then we was watching this last night, and MVP was there with the US title, and we were saying, why not have somebody come in? Kevin Owens. Why didn't they have Kevin Owens come out? Have Kevin Owens, MVP, bit of a rivalry. He gets this push for a belt, just a belt. Give him the push for that. It would have carried MVP for a bit as well.
Yeah.
As I said last time, I think the story with that is that they're waiting for Apollo Crews to come back, aren't they? So that they can do the storyline that they're planning. Obviously, Apollo's out. I'm assuming he's got COVID.
Yeah, that's what I get.
That time.
What's frustrating, I've got to admit, is all right, we want to wait for this storyline. But I'll tell you what, we've got Kevin Owens there. Why don't we just stick on the pre-show and just give MVP a belt? And it's like, really?
They put him on the pre-show because otherwise he just wouldn't have been on the show. He's got no real storyline at the moment. It wasn't. It's not. Let's get rid of him just because we can't be bothered with him. I don't like him. It's because there's nothing for him. Like he's not doing anything. You know, you've got a lot of other wrestlers when you think about it that weren't on the show. It's just one of those that happens. The fact that he was on the pre-show is more than a lot of wrestlers got. So at least he thought of in regards of you being used for shows like that.
Yeah, just a bit frustrating. So I think it's because I'm such a big fan. It just winds me up a little bit with him.
I know myself. Well, yeah. What you're saying.
Yeah.
But I just genuinely think it was just because there wasn't anything really for him. It was worthy of being. I mean, let's be fair. Jeff Hardy and Sheamus are probably one of the most interesting things going on at the moment. They weren't on the pay-per-view. AJ Styles wasn't on the pay-per-view. Matt Riddle wasn't on the pay-per-view.
That's true.
You know, there's a lot of big things going on within the company right now that weren't on the pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Oh, well, Kevin Owens only got the pre-show. At least he got the pre-show. A lot of people weren't on the show at all.
Yeah, I get your logic there, mate. So this is where we start getting interesting with our first match on the main show. So we obviously didn't do Kevin Owens, Buddy Murphy predictions. We didn't know it was happening. But every other one we didn't have any. Well, we did sort of. We'll go over it quite quickly now because it fell in, but it didn't actually finish as a match. But we were supposed to have a Apollo Crews versus MVP. Of course, our predictions on that just became void because nothing. Well, it went as a
win by forfeit, but we've counted it as a no contest because there was no contest.
Yeah. So it would be interesting to see what if as long as they are waiting for Apollo to come back. If they just suddenly decide that's how they're doing it and MVP's now US champion, then I'm going to be fuming. It wouldn't be unheard of, but I'm assuming that they're not. I'm assuming that, like we said on stream last night, there's going to be some sort of unification title, unification match. So let's hope that's that. I think that's pretty much what you can say about that one at the minute.
Yeah.
So our first actual prediction, we had New Day versus Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura. So
yeah, we did.
Hey?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
So me and Pete both had New Day down to win this one, and
yeah, you did.
Finn and Cesaro. That was in a tables match. We had. What did we think of that match?
I actually enjoyed it.
It was that match. It was the first match. So I was still in the middle of trying to watch the match, talk to you guys, set up or make sure the stream was working. So there was obviously a few bits I missed. I thought it was superb.
Yeah.
For what they could have done. I really like the finish.
That mental.
Full credit to Kofi for taking that bump. Like that was fantastic.
Through two stack tables. I thought that was excellent.
I know we've said it a few times recently, but have you noticed every match since Cesaro just seems to be getting better and better and better?
Cesaro's fun.
Yeah. And since we've mentioned it, and you keep on picking up, every match has just been like every match he seems to be stepping up a level every single time, which I love.
I think Cesaro could be multiple time world champion if he was in any other company.
Yeah, definitely.
But there's no he could be. He would be.
Yeah, he would.
Sorry.
Absolutely would.
Rephrase that. So yeah, we had that match, and of course that made that 1-0 to Link.
Of course it did.
The jammy bugger. Yeah, me and Pete sat on 0. Anything else you want to add on that one, boys? Apart from it was a good match.
It was a great match. Barrow proved everything that he needed to prove, as always, because the guy's fantastic. Shinsuke, the perfect kind of foil partner for him for that match. I think the New Day did what they needed to do. That spear through the ropes to the outside made us all.
They don't have bad matches, do they?
Forgot about that move.
Yeah, because we all thought at first. I don't know about you guys, but I genuinely thought the table was there, and he was going through the table with it. And I thought, wow.
We said it was that one that suddenly just moved. Yeah. But I thought it was good. But yes. I'm quite happy that Cesaro's got a sat with the tag title again. Obviously, I really enjoyed his run in the bar.
Yeah,
with Sheamus.
That kind of stepped him up from that mid card with Tyson Kidd. That kind of pushed him into the limelight again for me.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have the most tag partners for tag titles soon.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's currently Edge.
Sorry?
I think it's currently Edge.
Yeah, I think it probably is.
Edge and Hogan and that as well, didn't you?
Yeah, Edge, Hogan, Edge Mysterio,
Edge Christian.
Sure.
Oh, I can't believe Hogan was as high as Edge, though. Or is he not?
No. Hogan was Edge's partner for a tag title run.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought we were saying for multiple championships. I was going to say, I was like, yeah.
Nah.
Yeah. So next match was Bayley, Nikki Cross.
Yeah, it was.
We all went Bayley. And thankfully we all had that one right. So that put us on 2-1-1.
I should have maybe tried to call a bonus point for predicting the actual match, but I didn't.
What do we think of that? I think we all agreed Nikki has improved massively.
Yeah, definitely.
And she's starting to put herself in that title sort of picture, and it's rightfully so.
You say improved. She's never been bad. It's back to what we were saying earlier about women's division with it.
I just think that we said this time last year I weren't going to sit there and go, do you know what? I can't actually wait to look forward to a Nikki Cross match. When now I don't mind. I'm actually going, yeah, I'm willing to watch this. Like, I want to see what happens.
Yeah.
A year ago, I wouldn't have said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it falls back to what I was saying earlier about the women's division. It was okay. Yeah, I'm not going to sing its praises. It wasn't the best match I've ever watched. It wasn't that interesting. I got very distracted and bored during the match, and I think it reflects a lot on the women's division for WWE. I know that's awful, but it's true. I'm not interested, and I feel bad for saying it because I know that they're fantastic wrestlers, but I'm just they don't entertain me anymore. It's getting to a point now where they're almost the bathroom break again, and that's awful.
It's a bad habit. You don't want it going into a match expecting that, but it's starting to get like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And it was more the fact as well that this one I think was always going to be so predictable. I couldn't have ever seen them putting the title on Nikki Cross as well. That doesn't help it. If say for example it had been a sort of two wrestlers that were close together in terms of WWE's sort of rankings as they consider it, then I think you probably could watch it more and enjoy it more. But yeah, you know the result. Why do you want to watch it? Sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, that puts on 2-1-1. Seth Rey Mysterio was next up, an eye for an eye match. This was, what's the right word here, lads? Interesting?
I can't say it on YouTube.
A bit grim.
It was awful. Like it was not good. It was not good. Like I'm sorry. I want to be positive. I like being Mr. Positive about wrestling, but this was bad. Like it just wasn't good. As much as the wrestling was good, like Seth's new character is good. Rey Mysterio is a legend, but I just.
To be honest, I think the only thing I can say is it touches on what Dan was just saying. For me, this one was predictable. Yeah. Maybe a bit too predictable because Seth weren't going to take a loss in this. There was no going to be eye for an eye match. It was going to be Rey losing. I don't know how they were going to do it, but we all said there was no way Seth was going to lose this. And I think a bit predictable
as well because we all expected a CGI thing with the eye and whatever, didn't we? And instead, they just gave them some cheap plastic prop eye that he stuck between his fingers and went, "Oh, look, my eyes! Look at my eye!"
I didn't even see that bit.
It was just where he was holding his ping pong ball the whole time because obviously it just turned up and and it was all of a sudden there was a massive gap between the two fingers. Just so you can see this massive white bit pop through.
Yeah, yeah.
Seth throwing up at ringside as well was a bit weird.
Yeah, That is that thing we were talking about with Sheamus and Jeff. That it's just tasteless and just probably a bit unnecessary at times. I don't think that definitely wouldn't bloody need.
I think the whole Seth thing. The only reason they done that was because if he had just walked away, they would have been like, okay. They just tried to dramatize it up and make it.
But he could have. But let's say a footballer breaks his leg. And it's a bad break. You see the other players' reactions around it. They're freaking out. They're not being sick.
Yeah.
So you could have had Seth freaking out because that would have actually been the believable.
Yeah, more realistic.
Not for him just to turn around and then just go, bleh.
Yeah.
I think it was to show, like, because obviously Seth's character is his Messiah character. And I think it was to show more of a human side to that character rather than just a vicious side that's obviously within the match.
They tried to tease it a few times.
The kind of the thinking behind it, I didn't enjoy it. Just because I didn't enjoy it doesn't mean I don't understand the logic behind it.
Yeah.
And there was logic to it, and I can see what it was. You know, you can see what they were going for.
I can see it, yeah.
It wasn't good.
Ironically, the best bit we thought of that match, there was a couple of cool moves, but there was a couple of exaggerated moves that were over the top. The bit that we found the best out of that entire match was the crowd's reaction afterwards.
Yeah.
Seth, right, it's an eye for an eye match. Seth pulls out Ray's eye. He wins the match.
Boo! Boo!
It's a stipulation. That's the point of it.
That was going to happen.
Like you said, if Ray done it, flags would have been out everywhere.
Like, I could have absolutely understood if they had them booing, but they wasn't booing. It was sheer anger that they were trying. They had their audience portraying. And
the thing I'm really shocked about, we only got to see Dominic run out at the end to help his dad, and it was like, what was it you actually said? Take deep breaths. Take deep breaths. He said, like that was gonna help. Like you said, that's gonna help pop your eye back in.
Stop it. Yeah, no, mate. You just go. What?
You know what I will say what I expected, because obviously they did the whole eye thing with the corner of the ring step.
Yeah. That's what I did there in terms of using that.
It was better when they did it before, when they popped his eye and the blood and everything. That was better than this was.
Yeah.
But you didn't watch that, Dan, because you don't watch wrestling. But
The
bit last night, they had him there, and then Seth kind of backed up.
Yeah.
Genuinely thought he was going to curb stomp him onto the corner. And that would have been brutal. I would have absolutely popped for that. If that would have happened, it would have made that whole match more believable, more acceptable, everything.
We all actually started to pop for that. Go on, sorry, Dan.
They could have actually done that very believably. So because Ray had that black mask bit covering it, they could have actually put in, like, because obviously there was camera cuts, they could have slid in a bit of Kevlar, something like that, so that when he slams it, it hits the Kevlar, and you didn't have to see it. Then they cut away, and they obviously could take it out from underneath his mask, and it could have looked absolute nuts. They should have played with the advantage of it. I would have rated it so highly. He would, and then I could have understood then if the crowd got angry and started getting like really aggressive with him, because that would probably be a bit over the top.
Yeah,
for it. So I get that, but
it's murder. That's murder. That's what that is. It's murder.
Because we all actually started to pop for it, just knowing that it looked like he was going to do it, and I was almost opposite, going like, I can't wait for this. And that was when all of a sudden, Seth from over the other side of the ring saw this guy just in his hand, and well, hold a minute, we couldn't see that, but you saw it over there and freaked out, and it kind of spoiled it a little bit.
Yeah. So that obviously, with our predictions, that went to another point for each of us, because we all went old Seffy Poos.
The Messiah.
The Messiah. He's not the Messiah. He's a very naughty boy. The next match was Asuka Sasha Banks. I've got one word for it: botch.
Yeah, they were awful, weren't they?
It was straight crap.
Yeah,
which is like we said, two of the most talented wrestlers coming up, and it's so frustrating.
Two of the best women's wrestlers in the world, and the match they put on last night was absolute dog poo. Like, I can't lie about that. It was awful.
At NXT, their matches are flawless.
Yeah,
and this is a pre-recorded one,
and they still out.
It is a win.
Which is madness. I don't know why they would record that, then think that that's good enough.
Yeah,
because they could have easily gone back, looked at it, and gone, can you come back in tomorrow or something?
Yeah, tomorrow, because it's
go home, get some sleep, and come back.
But that's what they should be doing, because that is their advantage of them not being live. But it was just full of
botches as well, isn't it? Like, this is the main roster of the biggest wrestling company in the world. There is no excuse for that. There is thousands and thousands of other women within the world that want that spot, who are better. They are better wrestlers. They're undiscovered, but they are better. Bianca Belair would have done a better match in that spot. Full stop. No arguments. Cannot argue that, because it's true.
I'll go on a limb and say, I tell you now, any female in NXT would have got that spot, would have done better than that last night.
Mate, I was looking, and I was thinking some of the bloody trainees, the ones that have only been training for a couple of weeks, would have potentially done better.
Yeah.
Blackheart was at ringside last night with the green hair. She's unmissable, like, with that green hair. You know exactly who it is as soon as you see her.
Yeah.
Better than both of them two were last night, and it was horrible. It was the moves. It was the transitions. We had the bit where she was on Sasha's head,
She then on her hair. Sorry, she got off of Sasha's hair. Sasha was still holding her hair in pain. It's like, well, hang on, just get on with the match. Yeah, it hurts, but so does.
That was still going on at the end of the match. It was still being replaced again, and it was like, really? Bailey actually helped her at one point.
Yeah.
And it was...
right, and we'll get onto that. The whole finish. But anybody, chances are you didn't watch a stream at that point because I think we were quite quiet at that point. I walked out the room. I walked away. I wanted nothing to do with that finish because I thought that was crap.
I don't know what to say about it still, even now.
The fact that first of all, obviously Green missed the whatever you want to call it, fogged the ref, and then I thought Bailey was going to try and get the ref to go for the count, but no, I sort of started joking. Don't strip him. No, she was stripping him.
Yeah,
and then putting it on and then going for the count, but like. Surely that can't stand.
Look, I mean, this goes back to what I was saying with the Jeff Hardy stuff earlier, where people jump in too soon when it's a long-term story. So it's not going to continue. This is obviously part of a bigger story.
Of course.
You know, whether they officially count Sasha as the champion or not now, we won't find out until Friday. That's part of the game. We might find out tomorrow, or tonight, actually, because of the fact that they're on both brands. But we probably won't find out until Friday. In fact, no, we will be tonight. Asuka's Raw champion, isn't she?
Yeah. And you'll get the whole Asuka never really lost. She never really lost. She never officially lost. This will go with now for a few weeks till next pay-per-view.
Yeah, like I say, we'll find out tonight what they're doing with it. I don't want to cast too many judgments on the ending because, like I say, it's possibly that it's part of a longer term story. I mean, it's almost definitely part of a longer term story.
I think the botches just made it so much worse for a dodgy engine as well.
I think if the botches hadn't been there, if the botches hadn't been there, I could have probably lived with the ending.
Yeah,
it was crap. Oh, and let's roll on some more crap. There was good news for that, though. At that point, that put me and Link with another point because we put that down as a Sasha Banks win. Because as far as we're concerned, at the minute, that is. Which, for bad news for Pete,
because he's officially lost.
Pete would have officially lost, which means Pete is in for some spicy noodles we've ordered off eBay. You have ordered yours, haven't you, Pete?
Yep.
80,000 Scovilles.
So that'll be interesting.
Dan, just hold off that smile just for a bit longer.
I'll smile all day, mate.
So
the next match was Drew Dolph, and of course for this match, I'll say off the bat, we were all going through. This is how Pete couldn't catch anybody because we had all gone the same on this one. What did we think of the stipulation?
I did nearly go Dolph on this one, in fairness.
Yeah,
it was really good. It was really good. I think there was only one bit more we could have added. For all the stipulations, there was loads of different bits and pieces. The only thing I would have banned as well was the Claymore.
But I'm bloody glad they didn't because I love that finish.
That is a great Claymore. And the fact he did a nip up straight into a Claymore.
Yeah, made it that bit more special last night. They normally look amazing.
Yeah.
That's the table bit stands out for me. Dolph jumping to go through the table because it didn't show it so well on the replay, but on the first bit, you could clearly see Dolph hit, bounce up slightly, and then go through the table on the second hit. It doesn't show it on the replay because they kind of went slow motion and then went fast, and it kind of blurred it out. But
what a stipulation in the end!
How Dolph bounce off of Drew and then go through the table, which was just like wow.
What stipulations were there in it? Because there were loads in at one point.
So it was extreme rules just for Dolph. Dolph couldn't be disqualified.
Couldn't win from a count out.
Drew couldn't retain from getting himself disqualified either.
Yeah, and he could win the title on a count out, and
basically any way Drew lost would have cost him the belt, no matter what.
Yeah. But there was a couple of bits that we quite liked as well. That the fact that Drew couldn't use the table that was available as the thing. It was good storytelling that he actually span it around and I thought they both did really well in this match. Actually, in terms of wrestling, an actual wrestling match, if we're talking New Day, well, actually all of the ones before this, actually, I think that was probably the best wrestling match of the night.
I think it was good. You could see the way Dolph showed off again, how good he is at taking bumps and throwing himself about. He looked really good at that again last night.
I really rate Dolph.
I think.
Sorry, mate.
I've always rated Dolph. I think he's fantastic.
Yeah, superb. But yeah, anything else to add on that except for him? None of us could see Dolph having the title. None of us could see him walking out of Extreme Rules with the title, because you only had the other thing that it could have been that Dolph won as long as Otis was available and would cash in.
To be fair, though, there was a couple of times I thought he was going to nick it. To be fair, last night there was a couple of times I thought, hold on a minute.
Yeah, the Drew finish at that point was quite a clutch finish. The fact because he was on the ground, clearly he did a kip up. One more step straight into a Claymore. The fact that it looked so good was just
what a finish. What a finish! Just wow.
And I think during that match, you actually said, Link, only one person sells better than Dolph. And to be fair, Dolph fucking proved that in that match. That was just it was nuts.
If anybody watched our stream last night and knows who the one person that sells better than Dolph is, comments. We want to see it. Prove it.
Exactly.
See if you get it right.
Yeah. Comment who you think.
Get it right.
Comment who you think would be better, because that's also going to be funny. Because in the comments, it's going to be Heath. So I love that.
We don't think Heath's better at selling. Sorry, Heath. Just no.
Final match was the Swamp match, which was obviously it wasn't a Swamp match. It was a stall. It was like a
full fight.
Yeah. I couldn't wait for this just from the promos all through the night. But everyone I see was getting me more and more hyped for this because
the fact is they put in three promos throughout the night, and they tend to only do that sort of level of promos for like one of the big four papers.
Yeah.
So I thought that was good. As long as I was right, I think I was, the two randomers that were supposed to be attacking him were supposed to be Harper and Brian. They seemed to be that way, didn't they? With the
they were dressed like them, but that's about the only similarity, really.
The one bit I can't skip over is the one point I think almost gave us the biggest pop in ages.
Oh man,
yeah, when I see that one bit was I think the biggest pop since maybe the Hardys come out of Mania.
So we're talking, we're talking Sister Abigail as Alexa Bliss, and for that split second, if they'd done that, we would have all been actually quite happy with that, because we said, "Well, do you want to do it?" But I think if anyone was going to pull it off, I think Alexa Bliss could massively pull it off, and that would suit her at the minute because she's not around the title picture because they're having to wrestle less because obviously she's quite injury prone at the minute.
With the history with Strowman, that would make so much sense. And I've got to be honest, I've heard rumours about who it could be, and not once have I even thought or heard about Alexa Bliss.
And it would have been an absolute game changer.
Because the story makes sense. It would make so much sense.
But I bloody love that they did that was Sister Abigail with Alexa Bliss, because that was like, because we said it was like that was her Braun's siren, because obviously they had their on-screen love fancies for obviously throughout the last couple of years. And I just thought that was excellent.
Started with the Mix Max Challenge over on Facebook Live.
Yeah. But the thing is, this proves that, like we said last night, it's been said that Bray was heavily involved in the whole match, the story writing. The guy is an absolute genius.
Yeah.
For me, that was amazing. Everything he touches turns to gold for me at the minute.
Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was superb. what about the finish? We had the finish where we thought, oh, is that the end? And they cut to the thing in the corner, didn't they?
They were really smart with that. Really
It
smart.
went back, and then it made me jump. And I actually jolted back on stream, and I thought, fair play, they got me. They got me.
Yeah, really smart.
Yeah, I said this is going to be a bit of a long-term thing. I think there'll be a match at SummerSlam, and it'll carry on a bit. And they had to reintroduce the Fiend in somehow, because that's what it's going to be. That's going to be the big title match.
Well, it's going to be the Monster versus the Fiend, didn't it?
Yeah,
so,
and they done it perfectly.
Yeah, title at SummerSlam.
Which I'm actually really looking forward to. I think as long as, depending on how they do that, I think that'll be really good again. I like Braun, and obviously I adore Bray. I think he's superb.
I just really hope Alexa Bliss is involved somehow in that match. I don't know how. I really want to see that happen again. I think it worked really well.
Yeah, I think that was the one surprise throughout the entire night that none of us expected. That really impressed us.
Yeah,
that was actually well thought about, that no one even had considered.
No, I've said for ages, for months and months and months, I miss the surprise element, the pop, the kind of. Like when Hardy Boys come back, there's rumours going around, but no one quite believed it. The whole Edge thing, there was rumours going about Edge coming back, and maybe this, no one had a clue. And if they run with it, absolutely amazing. It will really, really wind me up if they just forget about it and never gets mentioned again. That will do me in a bit, because this could be massive.
I really want to see Alexa Bliss's reaction to it if that happens. Like, it's got to be. She's got to mention it, surely. Like, she does promos and stuff. How could she not mention the fact that she was in the match?
Or maybe not there, but her just have this slow sort of mental thing going on, demise see during the matches. So then she becomes as twisted as Nikki Cross does, and not Nikki Cross is. And I think they could potentially overlap. I don't know. That's just me spitballing.
What's brilliant is there's so many ways you can go with it. And like I said, it'll frustrate me so much if they just pretend never happened. It was a one-time thing, and that'll do me. This could go massive.
I just building on what you just said there, because it literally just sparked a light bulb for me when you said it. What if Nikki Cross is part of the Wyatt family?
It makes sense.
Alexa being Sister Abigail, and that's why that team exists in the first place, because it's never really been understood why that's a thing.
They were just
what if that is the whole story anyway?
Because she was heel as well, wasn't she, originally, when that happened? She was heel, and everyone was like, well, she's going to be screwed. She's going to screw her within, 3 weeks? And obviously, it never happened, which was really odd.
Yeah, it's just hope they go with it, because hopefully, like you said, this has been that long-term storyline. They've just been building and building and building, and maybe it's about to implode now. I'd love it if it was.
Yeah.
Hopefully, we're not looking too much into it.
Yeah. Of course, that meant that match ended with a no contest, which Link actually predicted, which meant I was out. I lost, which means I have now joined Pete, so I am also joining him as the doing the spicy noodles punishment, which I'm a bit scared of, Pete. If I'm being honest, I'm a little bit worried.
And just remember, mate, we're not losers; we're just runners up.
Yeah, no, Pete, you were a loser. I think I actually ended up more points than you.
I'm completely a loser, Pete.
Yeah, I'm a loser. So yeah, what we'll be doing, I plan on trying to do mine live on Twitch, which is going to make it even more interesting.
Yeah, I'm up for that.
So make sure you come and find us. Our link to our Twitch is in the description. I'm not sure what day it'll be. Currently, my noodles are due to be arriving on Wednesday, so that could be interesting.
Link, can you stop laughing there, please? I've just looked over, I've just caught it, and he's constantly just cracking up laughing. The biggest smile on his face.
I'm buzzing, mate. I'm so glad I don't have to eat them things. 80,000 Scovilles. It wasn't eating them that was going to be the problem, mate. It was the next day. Not looking forward to that.
The next week.
Yeah. But we will. So the plan is to do it live on Twitch, and then with the video will then be released for YouTube consumption as well. But I think that's pretty much the end of the podcast, boys. I've enjoyed that one again. It was good. I enjoyed last night. That was really good.
I'd just like to say before we go, thank you to everyone that is supporting us with all of the stuff we're putting out at the moment. We're really enjoying doing it, and the fact that you guys are starting to enjoy what we're doing, it really means a lot to us, and thank you very much for it. The support over on Twitch, for example, has been absolutely amazing while we've been playing the game.
It's the fact that we're less than a month in, we're now affiliate on Twitch. The fact that people actually are paying to watch our content.
It's amazing how quick it's grown.
To us three, that is so weird.
Yeah.
Definitely. We're just three lads that enjoy wrestling, and we were doing this whether people were watching or not. Obviously, it's lovely that people are watching.
Yeah,
and I've supported so well. So yeah, the other thing is, don't forget to go and find the code and follow all the rules for our contest. Please get involved so we can support our friends over at WrestleBox.
Like, subscribe, hit the bell.
Yeah, turn the
Keep
bell.
in the comments.
But yeah, I got nothing else to say, lads, except from thank you very much. And we'll catch you guys later.
Yep, see ya.
Peace.
Bye.
Summer.
80,000 Scovilles.